Guys, this guide is going to be split into 3 parts. First, I'm going to explain who I am for people who don't know. Then, secondly, I'll show you the best build and the variations within those builds, as well as why and when you would like choose specific PvP talents. And thirdly, I'll go over the damage rotation and the burst rotation. And finally, I'll show you some tips and tricks that you probably don't know. The people who don't know me, I'm an 8-time rank 1 demon hunter, and I've been number 1 on the 3v3 ladder multiple seasons. You can watch me play 3 Shuffle or PG Blitz on my stream, which is twitch.tv/mvqq, and I usually stream around like 3 to 4 CST or 10 PM EST, depending on what time zone you use. Alright, so onto the build part of the video. You basically want to play Aldrachi Reaver with army onto himself, evasive action, and engagement. Primitive Strike doesn't do anything, it's completely useless. Incorruptible Spirit is too minor with MS and stuff, and then Double Venture Retreat is just way too good with Combined with Glimpse. So this is the build that you want to be playing most of the time. There's a few variations, so you can drop Isolated Prey for Chaos Theory if you don't think you're going to be a single target Chaos Noving anyone. You can also drop it for Fel Barrage if you believe that you are going to be able to like cleave a lot. So if you're fighting double melee, you can play Fel Barrage and then you can do a ton of damage with that. But most of the time, you'll be playing Isolated Prey if you know what you're doing. Over here on the left side, there isn't really anything you want to change ever. It's pretty much set in stone. And then for PvP talents, you play Glimpse pretty much all the time. Then you play Tainment pretty much all the time. And then you swap out Blood Moon for whatever you need. Although, to be honest, I played Beta a shit ton. Like, a lot. And I never really changed this. Because with the CC nerf, reverse magic is kind of low value. They nerfed Cleanse by Flame completely, and Rain from Above is a longer cooldown now, so there really isn't like any reason to play anything else. You could play Sigil and Mastery, but I think Blood Moon will give you more damage, so you're just gonna be playing this most of the time and need drop Blood Moon for reverse magic if needed, but you probably don't need it. The only time I could see you using it is if you're fighting like a DK and they're trying to cheese your healer by stunning him into a Strangulate or something. And for the people who think FS is good, you can play FS if you want. It isn't terrible, but it isn't great either. The build I recommend for this is you want to go Wave of Debilitation, because usually you Chaos Nova the healer for the fat 5-second stun, and cast speed reduction is pretty OP, so it's good. Set to Fire of the Pain is just just better. Yeah, it makes you more tanky. And here, I think Student of Suffering is better than Flamebound. Flamebound is kind of useless because it gives you crit damage bonus, and crit damage is kind of useless in PvP because crits are nerfed. And Student of Suffering allows you to have a big mastery buff on your big goes. This build is actually wrong, so let me fix it and then I'll jump back. There we go. Okay, so basically, the left side and the right side is the same as AR. The only difference is that you have a Netherwalk now instead of Accelerated Blade, and you also changed Fel-scarred to Relentless Onslaught. But then otherwise, these things are completely the same. So the reason why Fel-scarred is worse is because AR has so many damage modifiers. So whenever you throw out your Art of the Glaive or Reaver's Glaive, and you use both empowers, you get a 20% damage buff. And this 20% damage buff you can combine with your burst, allowing you to do tons of damage. Additionally, you have Reaver's Mark, which causes the target to take 14% more damage. So you just have these like massive damage modifiers, and the tiny like demon surges that you can get from Fel-scarred just doesn't it's not like it doesn't justify. Like I played both, I spammed both on beta, and my damage is infinitely higher with AR. Like it's not even like close. So this is the best build. Alright, so I'm gonna go over the demonstration for both hero talents. I'm gonna start with Aldrachi Reaver because it's the best one. So, one very important thing to notice is that we're playing this now, which we didn't do in Dragonflight. The reason why we're playing this is because of this talent here. There's more reasons, but this is one of the reasons. So, not that, sorry. This one. So consuming a soul fragment causes your next chaos strike to deal additional damage. This is the reason why we're also playing soul sigils, and the reason why Blood Moon is so OP as well. So whenever you pick up a soul, your next chaos strike gets increased, and improved chaos strike empowers this even further. So that's another thing. Then there's this one, Incisive Blade, which does the exact same as this one, just increases your chaos strike damage by 10%. So, these two together, causes your chaos strike to do a ton of damage. And that's one of the reasons why chaos is really strong if you just want damage and you don't really care about the CC value of Isolate Prayer. So your standard damage station when you aren't bursting is really just gonna be, Immolation Aura is still a decent damage chunk. So Immolation Aura is always good to keep off cooldown. And then you just want to Blade Strike, or Blade Dance, sorry, and then just Chaos Strike. And that's basically it. You're not going to be through glaving anymore, okay? You're not through glaving anymore. Keep this in mind, you are not through glaving anymore. There's a reason why we're not playing the talent, causing our throw just through a second time. It's because it just doesn't do any damage. You see, it did 50 damage, and it bleed does 33k. It's completely horrible when you consider the fact that people have 6 million health. So that's basically your consistent damage. But here's what's very important though, is you don't want to do consistent damage to Reaver's Glaive. Or sorry, as a Aldrachi Reaver. You don't want to do consistent damage. Consistent damage is not a thing, okay? You want to get to your burst all the time. So the way you get to your burst is, say I don't have any damage to abilities. I would just consume magic, Sigil Flame, to get these sigils. And now I have 3 stacks. When I'm at 3 stacks, my Throw Glaive turns into Reaver's Glaive. So, I'm just hitting the target and trying to get souls. And then once I have 6, there we go. Now I have Reaver's Glaive. And now I can, start a burst. So now I Reaver's Glaive. And then if I do Blade Dance Chaos Strike, I apply 2 stacks of Reaver's Mark on the target. And I get 20% damage increase. So now I can do an I-Beam Essence Break combo. And I will do, shit ton of damage here. So that was 1 million non-crit. And then, I could extend my burst by hunting, and then I would get Reaver's Glaive again. So that's basically how you want to play it. Now, obviously, this is bad in some sense, right? Because you're probably noticing that walking into arena and sitting here and hitting and trying to get Reaver's Mark before you start doing anything, it's really bad because you're going to be playing extremely slow, right? If I'm just sitting here hitting and the enemy team is already doing a burst rotation, it's bad. In arena, you generally want to do your burst rotation as fast as possible. So, but that's why it's good that Blizzard has made this change, or not this change, but this addition. So when you hunt as well, you also get Reaver's Glaive. So either it's 6 soul fragments or hunt. So this is why whenever a game starts, you want to force your burst rotation. And the way you do this is you get into meta with I-Beam, then you cast Hunt, and now you have Reaver's Glaive, and now you can throw it, Blade Dance Chaos Strike, get 2 Reaver's Mark on the target, and you can, it's in your meta, and now we're just pumping, So I didn't have to sit there and gather all my souls, Okay, so that's that part of the burst. So yeah, so you can force your burst with Hunt, but you can also force your burst with Sigil Spite. So Sigil Spite causes you do big damage, and then 3 soul fragments drop. Additionally, you're playing Sigil, so 1 additional soul fragment drops, so that's 4. And then, if you do Consume Magic and then Sigil Flame, that's 6, and you have Reaver's Glaive, right? So with 3 globals, you have Reaver's Glaive. So that's another way to force it. So say you have I-Beam Chaos Strike ready and you want to get your buff up, you can force it with sending Sigil Spite, Sigil Flame, Consume Magic, get Reaver's Glaive, send Chaos Strike, Blade Dance, Throw Glaive, Blade Dance Chaos Strike, and then you go. Okay. So those are ways of doing it. So then let's say there's another scenario. So we have our Essence Break ready, we have our I-Beam ready, but we don't have Hunter Sigil Spite, and we don't have a lot of stacks. Are we gonna pick up 6 souls and wait half a century? No. Okay, so if you don't have your force, so when I say force, I mean your Sigil Spite or your Hunt, you don't have those abilities that cause your Reaver's Glaive to pop ready instantly, don't bother, okay? Just pretend you don't play AR, okay? Just send your IV message break, don't worry about it. It's not worth it to hold on to your stuff, you know? Like, you want to work with what you have and then, you know, do the best you can, but it's not worth to hold on to it until you can get the perfect go. It's not worth it. So, you know, say I don't have these abilities, let's say I don't have this, let me just remove this. So here, you know, I would then just IV message break, you know, just send it. It's fine. It's completely fine. Here it did 600k damage, so I'm losing out on 300k damage basically, which is like 40% of damage I'm missing out. But that's fine. It's fine. It's better than sitting there waiting on it, because I would have to wait, you know, 40 seconds for Sigil Spite. Okay. So then another question people ask is, when do you Blade Dance Care Strike and when do you Care Strike Blade Dance? Because in case you don't know, when you throw Reaver's Mark, or Reaver's Glaive, sorry, you get 2 choices. What's the best way of explaining this? I think the best way of explaining this is if I get the buff, because the buff explains it really well. But basically what it does is you get your Care Strike and your Blade Dance gets a power, and the order in which you use them is influences what happens. So here I throw it, and now my Blade Dance and my Care Strike is empowered, okay? So now my Blade Dance causes 3 additional Glaive Slashes to appear, which means just more Blade Dance damage. And my Care Strike now will apply Reaver's Mark, which is just like a damage taken increase. Also, the first ability you press does 10% damage, and the second does 20%. Okay, so if I do Care Strike Blade Dance, now my Blade Dance got a 20% damage buff, and also, okay, here's the part that why it matters. Okay, sorry, this one. Okay, so if you Care Strike Blade Dance, the empowered Blade Dance is stronger. If you Blade Dance Care Strike, the empowered Care Strike is stronger. So the second ability you press in the combo is the one that is the strongest. So explain this so bad, Jesus. Okay. So if I Blade Dance Care Strike, I apply 2 Reaver's Mark. Okay. If I Blade Dance or Care Strike Blade Dance, then I apply 1 Reaver's Mark. However, my Auto Glaive did way more damage. Okay? So you have to make a choice of like when do you Blade Dance and when do you Care Strike. And the best way to do this, I think, in my opinion, is if there's no Reaver's Mark on the target and you have no way of applying 2 Reaver's Glaive back to back, you do Blade Dance Care Strike, because then you apply 2 Reaver's Mark, and that's going to be the highest DPS. However, if you already have Reaver's Mark 2 stacks on the target, then I think Care Strike Blade Dance is better. Additionally, if you don't have 2 stacks of Reaver's Mark on the target, but you have a scenario like right now where I have Reaver's Glaive ready, I have Sigil Spite ready, which means I can get 2 Reaver's Glaive off back to back, I will do Care Strike Blade Dance. So then you see here, it looks like this. So now I have 1 Reaver's Mark on the target, and now I get another Reaver's Glaive, and I have 2 stacks on the target. So that's how you want to look at it. I don't know how else to explain it. I think that's the best way to explain it. So in summary, if you have your force and you have Reaver's Glaive ready, you do Care Strike Blade Dance. If you don't, and the target has no Reaver's Mark, you do Blade Dance Care Strike. Otherwise, always do Care Strike Blade Dance. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I guess we just go to the tips, because I'll be honest, guys, don't play FS, but I'll just, you know, maybe they buff it, so I'll just quickly go over FS. Okay, just quickly. Okay, so FS is a lot simpler. Basically, your consistent damage is the exact same. You just Care Strike Blade Dance, Care Strike Blade Dance. You don't throw Glaive ever. ever, unless you want to slow the target, you don't do it. So you just sit here and you just hit the target, blah 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 blah. It's fine, whatever. And now you sit the spite. It's just you just your burst. So now your burst is when you burst, you want to sit of flame before. So you want to sit your flame, then I beam. Then you get this mastery buff, and you do Essence Break, Blade Dance, and that's basically that. Very interesting how Demon Surge bugged there. I don't know why my Demon Surge bugged, but that's very worrying. So when you press I beam, you're supposed to go into meta, which I did, and then you're supposed to when you next Blade Dance Kill Strike, it's supposed to apply Demon Surges. It's very very sus. Anyway. So that's like your basic burst with Essence Break, and then when you want to burst with Hunt, it's about the same. Hunt is very very pissed with Fel-scarred. Like it's just kind of yeah. So if you were gonna do like your big burst with meta and everything, you would want to do Sigil Flame, I beam, Essence Break, Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, big meta, Sigil Flame again, Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, and then Immolation Aura, then I beam, then Hunt, all that shit, and then now you just do your casual burst. And you don't want to fuck this up ever, okay, guys? Because Fel-scarred is good for one reason, and that's just because your big meta empowers your Immolation Aura and your I beam and your Sigil, which is kind of OP. And it causes you to pop a Demon Surge whenever you press them. But outside of your big meta, you are fucking useless, and that's kind of the problem with this spec. So you saw here like Demon Surge, 3.5 million, and that was my big meta burst, and then we had Sigil of Doom, did 1 million, pretty insane. But yeah, that's basically Fel-scarred. Like, there's literally nothing to it, to the burst. Yeah, there's no nuance, no nothing. So that's basically that. Okay, and then on to tips and tricks. So there's a couple of tricks you can use. A couple I've found on beta. Well, actually, all of them. No, one of them I found on beta. One of them I found doing the pre-patch. So So there used to be a bug with Hunt where when you hunt, you can venture retreat to cancel animation. That they fixed that bug, but now it's back because they changed the animation of Hunt. And by changing the animation of Hunt, they changed the ability, and then by changing the ability, they put the bug back. So now you can do Hunt and then venture retreat, and you cancel the animation, and you hit the target instantly. So this is good in some scenarios. So for example, say someone is 1% HP, you want to kill them, but you can't get to them. But they are a night elf or a paladin or whatever, and if you hunt while you're traveling towards them, they can either shadow meld or divine shield or ice block or whatever the fuck. In that scenario, you could hunt and then venture retreat to kill them instantly. Also you can cancel the animation with meta. So let's say you don't have venture retreat ready, you can do hunt into meta, and it will do the exact same thing. It'll just cancel, and it'll hit instantly. So that's for hunt. And then another tip I can give you is I can duel this person. Can you root me quickly? Oh, stop my recording by pressing L. Great. Okay. I need someone to root me, basically. This guy can maybe. Oh, dude. Okay. I don't know. No one can root me. Okay. Anyway, so the tip is basically when you're rooted, you can't glimpse out of it. But if you're in the air when you get rooted, you can glimpse out of it. I'm gonna play like a clip right now on screen that showcases it from my stream. It's very very OP. So basically, the way you can abuse this is if you're fighting a shaman and they run around the pillar, and it's usually because they're trying to root you behind the pillar. So then you follow them, and then what you want to do is when you follow them, you want to be spam jumping, spam double jump, you know, spam double jump. Because that way, if they root you, you can just glimpse it. Or if you're chasing a mage and you think they're gonna root you, you just spam double jump, spam double jump. Okay. And then another tip is to get this weak aura. It's in my channel for subs. If you are a subscriber to my Twitch channel, you have access to it. Otherwise, you can make it yourself. Get some like weak aura or anything that shows if you have binding shot buff on you. So when you're in the binding shot area, you get a debuff that tells you, hey, you're in binding shot, but it doesn't stun you. It stuns you when you walk out of the binding shot range. So having a weak aura like this is very, very OP because you can actually glimpse out of the range and you won't get stunned. So I didn't, I mean, this has been like a thing for a while, but I never really abused it. And then I got it since no one really plays binding shot like previously, because I mean, I guess they did, but there was no hunters high rating. But now there's like a fuck ton of hunters, and especially on beta. So I made this weak aura because I was so tired of like trying to chase these hunters, and they would like root me into binding shot, into trap, into root, into binding shot, into trap. So now I got this, and it really fucks them actually. Like it makes it like almost from like impossible to possible basically. So yeah, that's that. And then the very, very last tip I'm going to show you, which you should not do, in my opinion, because you probably will get banned. However, another bug is back, which is that when you shadow melt and glimpse, you don't move, but you keep glimpse. So if I do this, now you see I have glimpse, and I'm walking around, and I still have glimpse, and I still have glimpse. And you have the buff for quite a while. I think that was like 10 seconds or 8 seconds or something, which is really OP. And they fixed this because I've used it on ladder in last season. So I would not do it because they fixed it and now it's back. And I think this is a bit too OP. So I wouldn't do it. I think you might get banned. But if you don't give a fuck, then go ahead. Maybe if you use it, they fix it. I don't know. Is that it? Maybe we can go over gearing. Let's go over gearing real quick. Okay, so for gearing, it's about the same. So you want to stack mastery as much as you can, and then you want some haste. I think we need to get around like 15 to 20% haste, and then after that you go for verse. Just ignore crit. Crit doesn't matter. And remember, and then for weapon enchants, the depth enchant or whatever it's called, I believe is the best one. Well, I don't believe, I know. It's this one. This one. It's really, really, really good. So definitely recommend you guys get this one. It's a little bit expensive, but yeah. I think that's it for my guide. I meant to make it fast, but didn't really pan out. But yeah, you guys can catch me live. And I think that's it. Yeah, catch you guys later.